So in some really good news for the Cowboys, Trevon Diggs is off the PUP list. That is the physically unable to perform list. Now, he wasn't in full practice today. He's still in that ramp-up period. I don't expect that you're going to see him really as a full go in practice, probably for another week or two, if that, to be honest with you. But I think, there's going to be a ramp-up period here over the next week or two. It's not going to look pretty for Trevon Diggs right off the bat. And that's fine. It's okay. That's expected. Now, I do believe ultimately he will recover from this injury and maybe come mid-season to later in the season, you'll start to see that Trevon Diggs that we saw before his injury. Now, here's the thing with Trevon Diggs. He was a top 10 corner in football before that injury. Some could even say a top 5 cornerback in football, even though his ball production wasn't as good in 2022 as it was in 2021. I think that you can make a legitimate case that Trevon Diggs was better in 2022 than he was in 2021. He was much better in coverage. I think in that 2021 season, I do think his ability to actually play coverage was a bit underrated because of his ball production. But I think that he even upped his play as just a pure cover corner in that 2022 season. You saw teams not want to throw the ball towards him because they were so scared of his ball skills, on top of the fact that guys just weren't really getting open on him. Trevon Diggs progressed in that aspect. So we'll see what he is when he gets off injury. One thing I like about Trevon Diggs is very good athlete, fast, long. And because of that, if you're a corner that's fast and long, that kind of makes up for some deficiencies in your technique. Not saying that, Trevon Diggs' technique is poor. It's not. It's absolutely not. He has very solid technique. But his arm length and his athleticism and his speed really make up for him maybe not having elite technique, just being really good. And I expect that some of those athletic tangibles that Trevon Diggs has, you'll see that on full display when he comes back in the fold of things. Now, Trevon Diggs is in a good spot coming off this injury because of the fact that he doesn't have to get back on the field and him be the bona fide number one cornerback. Now, I believe when both Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland are healthy, Trevon Diggs is a better corner than Deron Bland. But it's going to take some time for him to get acclimated after this injury. And I think having a guy like Deron Bland there, who is definitely capable of being a number one cornerback. Sure, there's some type of receivers that do give him some problems. But I think having that pressure off him to immediately come back and be the main guy and have that defense rely upon you in the secondary, I think that that's actually good for him, that pressure isn't all on him coming off that ACL, and that he can return to a defense that has a guy who was an all-pro last year. Now, again, Trevon Diggs is the best corner on this football team, but there is going to be a ramp-up period, and there's going to be an adjustment period, and there's going to have to be a period where Trevon Diggs is getting used to being back on the field, playing at a high level again, before you really start to see the Trevon Diggs that we saw before this ACL injury. But am I confident that he can get to that level? Absolutely. I believe in Trevon Diggs as a person, and that is the most important thing about the game of football. You have to believe in these players as a person before you can believe in their talent. And I believe in Trevon Diggs as a person, and I believe in his talent. So that is a great combination that he has working for him. And I think that Trevon Diggs will be back probably mid-season to later in the season, playing at the level that we all know Trevon Diggs can play at. So it's good news that he is off the PUP list. It almost seems like pretty much every news that the Cowboys have gotten this offseason has been bad news. So it is a bit refreshing to see that there's some actual news that you could say, you want to know what? I feel really good about that. I do. Because remaining optimistic coming off that Green Bay game and coming off the offseason where, they didn't really make a lot of moves, and with the Sam Williams injury from the other day, it's been a plethora of bad news for this team. So having some good news, it is quite refreshing. And hopefully Trevon Diggs can, put on the pads and start getting in the swing of things when it comes to practicing with his teammates, because, he's definitely going to be important for this team this upcoming season. There's no doubt about it.